my friggin' iPad is. Not my poo.
Right, so day one of massive 16-metre by 9-metre mural. So I'm painting Queen, and basically this is like a sales office for Villawood Properties. They're going to be dividing 2,500 blocks on this farmland. We're out in Sunbury, and in 1974, Queen played at the Pop Festival. They got booed off the stage, and they did mention when they got booed off, Freddie Mercury said, when we come back to Australia, we're going to be the biggest band in the world. So there's a bit of like a reasoning behind why they've chosen the subject matter as Queen in Sunbury, make a statement piece that, yeah, in fact, they were the biggest band in the world. And I think it's something different. I was drawing up last night and people were like driving along tooting. So I think it'd be something really exciting for the community. And sometimes people feel that, you know, when you're doing a painting, it has to be relevant to the business or relevant to what's going on in this area. But I think that if you do something completely left of centre, it's a bit more exciting and sort of catches people's eyes and gets their brain ticking. And I think that's when people think, oh, hang on a second, in 1974, Queen were here in Sunbury. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty stoked about the painting them. I've never painted any of the band members before, let alone them as a band and as a massive mural statement piece. So exciting. I think it says, you know, it has a deeper meaning. It says something for everyone who's, you know, been booed or been like put down, and, you know, the amount of criticism that I receive off my work as well. So I'm out here and this is my biggest mural to date. So after all like the setbacks and roadblocks and everything, I'm still here painting a band that also made it massive, and they're still successful to date. So excited. Day 3, had a whopping day yesterday and managed to catch up on lost time that I lost on Friday because it was raining. Both of my shoulders are about a 7 out of 10 pain-wise at the moment. It's been pretty smooth out here, like logistically. I don't really have, my God, my dad's in the background. It's freezing and the wind, but apart from that, it's been good. I'd like to introduce you to my heated jacket that my boyfriend got me, and I'm pretty stoked about it. It's got 3 different settings. I'm gonna turn it down because I'm cooking right now. I'm working on Freddie today, pretty excited, tracking well. Yeah, under the pump at the moment. Like even just simple life things, I just don't have time to do at the moment. Had to go to the doctor's last night it's on a Saturday night because I don't have any other time to go to the doctor's. I'm trying to fix my boo-boo because yesterday I put in too much white to my grey. Oh shit. That was full. Diluting for 20% today, not 5. Oh my God, Danielle. day 4. It's 5 p.m. and I've been up since 5 a.m. So today was a little bit of a mental battle to get through, to be honest with you. I think when I'm doing something this size, it's like a mental battle more than it is a physical battle, because you like think you're getting heaps done and then you step back and you're like, oh my God, I've still got so much to do. You can tell when I get a little bit like antsy because I start working on other pieces and then move back to another piece and then, or like portrait, and then I like swap. So I guess that's kind of what gets me through these sort of days where I maybe don't feel like painting as much, but of course got deadlines, so just gotta, you know, push through. Are you cold? Because I'm cold. So far, I'm pretty happy with how the mural's tracking. On the first and the second portrait, I did quite a smooth underlayer and quite like a soft portrait style. And then I moved on to Brian May before. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try and do it a little bit more rough, like, which is like my usual style on canvas. And I've ended up doing him a little bit more rough and textured, and I actually like that better. So I'm gonna go, which I was gonna go over the other 2 portraits anyway and build up more detail, but I'm actually gonna go over these ones and change the style a little bit. So yeah, it just goes to show you can't really plan for these things in advance. You sort of just gotta go with the flow and make these decisions up as you go, which is a bit like nerve-wracking sometimes. You don't really know if it's gonna work. It's got a trial and error. It's a little bit more work for me, but I won't be able to sleep at night if I don't actually execute it how if I'm not happy with it, I won't sleep. So they still look good. Like, they look awesome from the road. So I'm not saying they don't look good. It's just like my visual interpretation would probably be very different to everyone else's. But yeah, so no, apart from that, they're tracking really well. Like, I think time-wise, you know, we've got like a massive mural here and a lot of space to cover. So I think I've probably surprised myself in how like quick I've gotten these base layers down. It's raining tomorrow and the next day, so knowing that I'm not coming here tomorrow and the next day, I was like, nah, you got to push through. So I guess if you ever have any like mental battles, just got to look at the positives, or the, you know, little rainbow at the other end. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. I'm like, rainbow at the other end. Oh my God. This isn't actually the only mural that I'm battling. Not battling. When I say that, that sounds negative. Embracing at the moment. I'm working on a piece for Telstra, which is a mural as well. So that was yesterday, and then I'll be doing that tomorrow as well. So I'm back to back on murals at the moment. A little bit of pressure, deadlines, content, etc., etc. When I finish my murals, I've still got my emails to do and my prints business to run, so I'm doing that when I get home. And then also I've got jobs coming up next week and the week after that I'm preparing for. So yeah, it's interesting. It's just sort of about like sort of testing myself at the moment. Let's just see how much we can take on. This is like a huge project, and to have like other things going on as well, it's not as if I can switch off, which would probably be healthier for my mind if I could switch off when I'm finished. But I've got a lot of other work to focus on, so it's good. Embracing it. Busy is good. Oh my God, they're quite close. They're not usually that close. I really want to be friends with them, and they don't want to be friends with me. Ooh, that was actually an accident. I just scared the shit out of myself. Cool. after about 11 days and 90 to 100 hours, I've finally finished my biggest mural to date. I think there's like mixed emotions when you finish something like this, because you're like always, you're so eager to get it done, and then when you finish you're like, oh, can I keep going? So yeah, no, I'm super excited, really happy with how it turned out. Plenty of roadblocks along the way, but wouldn't change a thing, because I think it's always a massive learning curve, and yeah, I guess the wall has a lot of meaning to me. And I think the main thing is that the people who have hired me to do this and trusted me with their vision are super happy. I had to overcome a few challenges. I think my biggest challenge was probably the lighting. You know, in the morning it starts directly on the wall, so then you got the glare on your reference photo, and then as the day goes on it sort of moves behind the wall and you get the darkness, so the portraits start looking really dark, and then you put too much white in, and then you put too much darker shades in. So I think lighting was probably a key factor that presented a lot of challenges. Also, when I drew up the piece, I did use a projector, but being so far back it was very, very blurry. So I had it gridded on my iPad as well. Luckily the panels actually create a grid. So the first two portraits, if we're going from left to right, I drew up really, really well. And then obviously as the night went on, I was getting really tired, and I was like, oh, that's fine, I'll freehand it as I go. And Brian and John were actually really poorly sketched up. So Brian, I basically had to restructure his whole face as I went. For aspiring artists, spend the time at the start to get your sketch done properly, because if you don't, you're going to be like 10 hours behind. So, and that's what I reckon it took me to get back on my feet. I literally got down and Brian's face was like a puffer fish and his nose was seriously diagonal. So yeah, spend the time at the start, put in those extra grueling hours at the start. It's not fun drawing up, it's really challenging. But if you do, then you won't run into problems down the track. So yeah, so that's probably a massive tip. People always ask me about how I draw things up. If I can project, I will. Use technology where you can. If you can't, then you need to grid it. And if you don't have a grid, then there's other methods that you can use. But yeah, I think that's something that I need to work on, is, being able to freehand portraits that need to look like someone without having help with the projector. So definitely always learning. I've got a long way to go with that. I think the biggest tip I could say is expect everything to go wrong, and then you'll be sweet, because it's just something that, you forget something. Oh, you ran out of paint. Oh, it starts raining, the wall starts dripping. Sun, wind, cold. Yeah, so definitely. And the sun's just come out in the middle of the interview. So yeah, that's about it, I reckon.